What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another ranking every episode of random Marvel Disney Plus series. If this is your first time here, I did this for WandaVision, and I did it for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and now we're about to do it for Loki. I just wanted to say, if I did a video on ranking every Marvel Disney Plus series, Loki would definitely be at the top, which is kind of surprising to me because honestly, Loki was probably one of the least shows that I looked forward to. And so was WandaVision, which would probably be my number 2. I was really looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is my number 3, but I still loved. I'm really looking forward to Hawkeye. So Loki was a very nice surprise for me. And again, if this is your first time here, please consider hitting that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you don't miss future videos just like this one. Coming in at number 6 is the 3rd episode of the series, titled Lament. I feel dirty even putting this episode this low because there's so much stuff that happens in it. This is obviously the first time that we get to spend any real amount of time with Sylvie. This is of course the episode that we learned that everybody in the TVA is variants. The start of the episode is great with Loki and Sylvie kind of fighting their way through the TVA and eventually Loki sending them to Lament. And even once they got to Lament, however you say it, I know a lot of people felt like the episode slowed down, but I never felt like that. I felt, I really enjoyed Loki and Sylvie's interactions together, and then of course that final, what was supposed to be an endless shot was just, exhilarating and action-packed and just really, really well done. Honestly, I'm really trying to go through my head to figure out something that I didn't really like about this episode, or some reason to justify that I ranked it last, and I really can't think of anything. Coming in at number 5 is the 2nd episode, The Variant. I was very, very close to putting this episode at number 6 because unlike the previous episode, there actually are a couple things about this one that I could say I didn't love and I didn't really enjoy. I felt like there was a lot of reading books in this one and a lot of sitting around at tables, and I don't want to say it was wasted time because obviously them reading that books made them realize that Sylvie was hiding in apocalypses and stuff like that. But at that specific moment when I'm sitting there watching that part, I was not bored, but I was like, okay, where's this going? Where's this going? It just kind of slowed down. But the reason I did rank this ahead of Lamentis is because I feel like every show really needs to have a moment that just pulls you in. And that's not to say that you wouldn't have watch the entire show if that moment never came, but for me it was after the Sylvie reveal when Loki's about to step in the little time door thing that they probably named, I just don't remember, but it's when he's about to step in it and Mobius and the 2 TVA guards are coming running down the aisle at the grocery store, and Mobius is yelling, "No Loki, no Loki," and for some reason, I don't know if it was just because that was so well acted or you could see that there was real fear and, adrenaline and stuff like that in Mobius, but that is the moment of the show that really pulled me in and really made me realize how good this show was gonna be. Coming in at number 3 is the 1st episode of Loki, Glorious Purpose. The first 3 episodes I've talked about here, Glorious Purpose, Lamentis, and The Variant, I feel are, you might vary which way you rank these, but I feel like these will be the bottom 3 for everyone. So I'm really interested, are they for you? So make sure you go down in the comments. But the reason this one was ranked above the other 2 for me is because I really loved that whole, just the screen and watching the previous scenes with Loki and the previous Avengers movies and the previous Thor movies. And that episode had a real big emotional impact that I wasn't expecting from the show, and I definitely wasn't expecting from the pilot episode of it. Seeing Loki kind of go from the early Loki that we know from the Marvel movies to kind of this, you know, vulnerable Loki after he saw his mother, and especially after he saw Thanos kill him, you know, just really made an impact emotionally. And just like I said, I was not expecting that. And then just the whole cat and mouse of Loki running around the TVA and, you know, escaping and coming into contact with Casey on multiple occasions and finding the useless Infinity Stones in the drawer, and just all that was really super enjoyable, and I just thought it was a great way to start the series. Oh, and I can't go without saying that the start of the episode when Loki first gets to the TVA and you just see that whole process, like, I have to mention that. That was great. So real quick in the middle here, I just wanted to take a quick break and say that I have 2 other Loki themed videos that I'll put down in the description, and make sure you go check those out. This one, it might be kind of hard to get the camera to focus on it. This is a lithophane that once you put, don't click off the video, I'm coming, I promise. Once you put light behind it, it just like shows through, and it's really simple but really cool, and I really like it. So I have a video for that. Like I said, it'll be in the description. It's like a short thing, it's like 30-40 seconds long, so go check that out. And then of course my Sylvie Crown video. I do a lot of 3D printing, and I 3D printed this, so make sure to go check out that video. It's still a little big for my head, but looks good. I'm happy with it. So that will be in the description as well. Go check that out, and let's get back to the list. Coming in at number 3 is the 5th episode of Loki, Journey into Mystery. I don't even know where to start with this one. You know, all the Easter eggs, all the Lokis. This was just a great episode of television that just every scene you're like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. I absolutely loved Richard Grant as classic Loki, and spoiler, I was, you know, before the final episode that aired this morning, I was really expecting him to be the one in the castle. I was really hoping it would be Kang, but after the whole WandaVision debacle, I wasn't expecting it, so, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But I loved him as classic Loki, Alligator Loki, I mean, come on. And then Kid Loki, who they purposely kept open, so he'll definitely be back. I love well, what was your Nexus Event? He said, I killed Thor. You know, that was excellent. The number of comedic scenes kind of in the middle of the episode when they introduced King Loki, you know, especially with Alligator Loki kind of, you know, Captain hooking him and biting his hand off, and just the entire episode was just excellent. And having him fight Goliath at the end, and that's really kind of when you're like, it's gotta be Kang. It has to be Kang, because there's just, you know, like they had Kang on side the Avengers Tower. Just the amount of, I always said, it did kind of, you know, during WandaVision, it did kind of feel like they were throwing like subtle hints of Mephisto at us, but I think a lot of that was us fans taking it and kind of running with it, versus Loki just taking hints at Kang and just baseball bat, boom, right over the head at us. And I'm just like, man, it has to be. And I was kind of ready for disappointment, and man, they delivered. I love getting Mobius back in this episode. Him driving the little pizza delivery car with the little pizza thing flopping on the top was hilarious. Sylvie's confrontation with Renslayer and her pruning herself was just, I keep saying excellent because I don't know what other word to use. And then honestly, I was really expecting failure when she wanted to enchant Goliath, but it worked. And this episode comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is the finale for all time, always. You have to start with Kang with this one, right? I don't know, there's nowhere else to start. When Miss Minutes named He Who Remains, I was kind of like, but you have to start with Kang on this one, right? There's no other place to start. when Miss Minutes first named He Who Remains, I was kind of, you know, and I was still expecting, you know, like a name drop on Kang at the end. And I guess technically speaking, he really never got a name drop on Kang. But my real thought, like my theory on this episode was it would be classic Loki as He Who Remains. But was it like an elevator? I guess it was an elevator and the light started shining through in the bottom. And that door opened and you saw the figure of the guy sitting in the back. But he was kind of under shadow, and like, I swear, like I'm sitting on the sofa and I'm like this. I'm like, is that who I think it is? That looks like him. No, it can't be. And then when he kind of came out of that shadow and you saw it was Jonathan Majors, I was like, holy shit. But then, like I've said in these videos in the past, I'm not a big comic book reader. I've read enough to where I kind of, like, I know who Kang is. I didn't need like any introduction to him. But I was like, well, this guy's kind of goofy. But it was kind of goofy in almost a menacing way, if that makes sense, you know? And as the episode went on, I kept expecting the other shoe to drop. And I guess it really kind of did, even if it's not of his own making at the end. Just the fear that was in Loki when he went back to the TVA and he ran up to Mobius and, what was it, B15, I think was her number. You know, I really got shades of when Bruce Banner was alerting everybody of Thanos. Just the sheer fear in Loki was just great, and, you know, goosebumps, and when he turns and the big statue goes from, which, by the way, like I even showed my wife, who has no idea about any of this stuff, and I'm like, doesn't this second timekeeper look like I pulled up a picture of Jonathan Majors. I'm like, doesn't he kind of look like him a little bit? Maybe not too much, but a little bit, right? She's even like, yeah, I could see it. But when that statue kind of changed from that middle timekeeper to him in the comic accurate Kane costume, like, the fight between Loki and Sylvie in the little castle was just great. The confrontation between Mobius and Renslayer, great. I'm using another word other than excellent. And then I couldn't believe we never got the scene of King Loki on his throne. You know, it's just Marvel once again putting stuff in trailers just to send us off in that other direction. You know, I watched probably 5 videos just in the past week or two about scenes that haven't shown up yet, and everybody was like, King Loki, King Loki, King Loki, and like it never even showed up. And I really thought Miss Minutes would kind of show some kind of ability to let Loki see what's possible. You know, I thought at the beginning of the episode when she was saying that He Who Remains found a way on the timeline for them to kind of get what they want, I really thought that's what that was going towards. So just a great episode in general, and just really sets up Phase 4 to really make a lot more sense of the stuff we know. And coming in at number 1, episode number 4, the Nexus Event. Just because of like the ramifications of the finale that just aired, I really had trouble deciding which one I wanted to go with at number 1. And honestly, if I make this video again in a week, you know, this number 1 and this number 2 could very likely flip. But just the sheer number of jaw-dropping moments in the Nexus Event, from Renslayer pruning, killing Loki, to Renslayer ordering to have Mobius prune, to, you know, the timekeepers being fake, to B15 coming in and just getting her ass kicked like the second she came in, by the way. Nobody, I don't see very many people talk about that. But this episode just had so many moments that were just unbelievable, and it really kind of, you know, if this was like a normal TV show, this happened like 3/4 of the way through. Is the things that happened 3/4 of the way through in this episode, not in this episode, but 3/4 of the way through the season in the 4th episode, you know, like every other show, at least in your head, is saving that for like the finale. You know, and this show just had bigger ideas of, like, you think we're going here, but like we're going here, like way up there, you know, and just this episode was some of the best, you know, television I've seen, like, you know, at least TV show wise in a very long time. And, you know, and I think, you know, when Mobius was pruned, there was like really that big thought in your head that like, is he actually dead? And then when Loki got pruned, you know, like I think, at least for me anyway, there was like an initial second where I'm like, did they just kill off Loki? Is Sylvie, which I love Sylvie, but I'm like, is Sylvie gonna be the main character now? What the hell's going on? And then, you know, pretty quickly you're like, oh, it's just, they're not dying, they're just sending them somewhere else. And that post-credit scene to set up the 5th episode with the variant Lokis, and just this entire episode was just great. And I know the guy that wrote Loki wrote Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, so that's just another. And I've always liked Doctor Strange. I always really looked forward to that movie. And then, you know, especially after WandaVision, I think I even talked about it in a video that my hype for that movie was like here, and then after WandaVision it was like here, and then now it's like here, and just, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, Nexus Event, #1, has me getting in a week. Maybe it's #2. All 6 episodes were like really good. You know, there was no bad episode like I think you see in pretty much any series you watch, whether it's 6 episodes or, you know, 24 episodes like we see in some of those older shows. So, all right, guys, so that's my list. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or if you disagree with it. If you do disagree, what do you disagree with? What would your order be? What did you like about the show? What didn't you like about the show? And I didn't even mention Loki Season 2. Are you looking forward to Loki Season 2? So thanks for watching, guys. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. And thanks for watching, and hope you guys are back for the next one. Bye.